Hey, welcome to this live transmission. The topic for this video, what I want to cover right here, is the topic of ego. The way I word it is ego dissolution or ego mastery. So if you heard the word ego before, very often the word ego is going to be associated with lots of negative connotations. It means that we are going to use the word ego in ways like the ego has to be dissolved, the ego has to go, it's just your ego speaking, you are coming out of your ego. So very often it's like as if there was this shadow aspect inside of us, and people tend to call that the ego. So my definition of ego is anything that has to do with your personal identity. So you have the realm of your thoughts, your emotions, your feelings, your body, your personal space, and all that is associated with ego. It means that it's the vehicle that you use to incarnate in this life. And so when you go to some guru in India, for instance, and you sit at the feet of this guru, and he says, if you want to access the divine, if you want to access your higher self, you have to dissolve your ego. Your ego is an obstruction to self-realization. So what is going to happen at that moment is that your guru or your teacher is going to be pointing out to the fact that your personality is an obstruction to self-realization, which is a very valid point. You know, if we didn't have a personality, if you enter into states of profound meditation, then very often what's going to happen within those states, you are going to feel like your personal identity tends to dissolve itself, and you enter into this realm of peace and bliss, where your thought patterns, your emotions, your worries tend to dissolve, and you enter into the state of oneness. So there is a process where the ego starts dissolving, or the frequency, the egoic frequency, is being replaced by a spiritual or a higher frequency. And so those are states of being. It's like different ways of relating to life, and you stop feeling your body, you stop feeling your personal desires, you stop feeling your personal urgency to get things done or achieve things, or the stress that might be happening inside of you, and then you enter into this higher energetic resonance where suddenly there is a state of being that you can qualify as ego-less. So when a guru or a teacher wants to reach you, have an impact on you, have an impact on your life, very often if your personality is right there and you come with lots of demands and pressure and you are completely stressed, what he's going to be pointing out, or what she's going to be pointing out, is to the fact that your ego, or the worry or the chatter in your mind, in your head, is an obstruction to your self-realization. And that chatter or that activity of your ego might be an obstruction for the guru, the teacher, to be able to actually reach you and impact in your field. So this is where this whole idea of having to dissolve your ego comes from. It comes from the idea that that personal vehicle is an obstruction to higher realization. So my definition of ego, when I think about ego, I don't think just of negative things. What I think that is being pointed out very often as ego are more the shadow aspects of the ego. So instead of thinking about ego dissolution, you can access ego dissolution through meditation practices and enter into a high state of energetic resonance, and that's beautiful, that's perfect. But what happens when you come back into this world? What happens when you have to go back into the city and earn money and earn cash and show up for your family, show up for your friends, go to battle. Basically, you are going to be fighting with other egos. So you're not just in a cave somewhere lost in the Himalayas, right? You are there engaging into life. And to be able to engage into life, very often, I mean, in my experience, you need to have some form of egoic vehicle. This is like your car or your motorbike or your boat or your plane. It's the egoic vehicle with which you engage into life. So this egoic vehicle can be optimized, or it can be extremely toxic. You can have lots of negative thoughts, self-destructive behaviors. You might be functioning in an egoic vehicle which is not optimized at all, and this is going to hurt your success, your happiness, and your joy in life. But in my experience, what I'm feeling right now is that after 25 years of spiritual practices, I still have an ego. I still have an egoic vehicle. What I notice is that this egoic vehicle has been optimized, and it has been optimized in ways where the patterns, the thoughts, the emotions, the feelings, the conditionings that were holding me back, some of them at least have been dissolved and replaced by codes and behaviors, programs that function better today in today's world, to be able for me to be able to incarnate in a better way and have an impact into this world and activate my mission. So what this means is that my mind and my egoic vehicle becomes my ally. It becomes my best friend internally. I function with an egoic vehicle that incarnates itself and is really useful to me. So if I was coming to you and be like, you've got to dissolve your desires, you have to dissolve your wishes and your passions, you've got to get rid of all these emotions and all these thought patterns and just enter into a transcendental state of being, in a way that's a very beautiful target. It's something really spectacular and a beautiful thing to engage into. But then what happens when you have to come back into incarnation? Then you will need an egoic vehicle, otherwise you're not able to function. At least that's my experience. This is how I define it. So rather than egoic dissolution, I call that egoic mastery or egoic optimization. It means that you want to be able to master that vehicle so that it's really functioning in an optimized way into this planet. So for instance, self-destructive patterns, behaviors like eating really bad food or drinking, smoking, having some form of addiction, like for instance gambling addiction or something like that. All these egoic patterns, which means that your mind is being enslaved by things that you don't control, you don't direct. So what you want is to be able to optimize that so that your body, your mind, your system, your thought patterns are transmitting or are being a clear channel to the flow of life force and to the flow of incarnation on this planet. So these are kind of the mindsets or the patterns that I use or I function with. When some student or somebody comes for a coaching session, I'm not going to tell them they have to dissolve their ego, because I have the feeling that this would be working against their goal, against their needs. What I'm going to be pointing out is, here are the egoic aspects that I notice inside of you that are not serving you, okay? Here there is an attachment to something that is really old in your life, an outdated pattern, a wounding from a past experience. There might be a thought or a belief system that is not serving you, and so I'm going to point out to that specific aspect in the person and then help them transcend that specific egoic pattern, if that's something that is holding them back. But I'm not going to go like, you've got to dissolve the full totality of your personal vehicle, because the personal vehicle is still there. Something also that is really intriguing and very natural, of course, is if you go again to India, or you sit at the feet of a guru or a master who says that you have to destroy or dissolve your ego, very often what you will notice that that guru, that teacher, that master still has an egoic vehicle. It means that they function on this planet. They might be making money out of the teachings they are distributing. They might be sitting there. They are wearing something. They are wearing clothes. They are living in a certain space. They are eating certain foods. And all these associations have to do with training within a certain personal vehicle, within a certain culture. So I am sure if you are in the spiritual path that at some point or another you might have experienced glimpses of egoic dissolution inside of you, where you go like, oh my God, I'm like, everything feels so pure and so complete. And then you might notice that in a teacher, right? You might feel this radiance of light. And very often I have friends of mine, they say, wow, that teacher, that man, that guru, or that woman is self-realized. When I'm in their presence, I have the feeling that my heart expands, and suddenly there is this, full realization of my being, where I access light. It's like a channel of energy that manifests itself in my life. So it is possible, in my experience, to have glimpses of egoic dissolution, where suddenly you are no longer functioning on the frequency of the personality, but you are functioning on the frequency of the Buddhic vehicle or the Nirvanic vehicle. It means that there is an influx of light, vibration, that for a period of time, suddenly you enter into pure spirit. And it can happen internally, it can happen by reflection with a teacher or a master, and those states are valid, they exist. But it doesn't mean that the ego is permanently dissolved. In my experience, you go back into the world, you go back into entering into the different layers of egoic expression. For instance, over here, we jump back on our motorbikes, we jump back into having conversations with people, and in this worldly activity, we're going to express our egoic vehicle. We are going to, through the filter of our egoic vehicle, we're going to transmit into this planet and act in ways that are the reflection of our egoic conditioning. So again, if you are confused about that, do you need to dissolve your ego? I would encourage you to look at it from a different perspective and be like, yeah, you can have moments of egoic dissolution, but the goal here is more like egoic mastery or egoic optimization, so that your egoic vehicle becomes your best ally in your path to incarnation. So when we are talking about that, again, we can be talking about shadow aspects of your personality. What are the shadow aspects of your personality? Those are the shadow aspects in your egoic vehicle that might be holding you back. For instance, again, within the Hindu tradition, you sit at the feet of a guru, he will tell you that your attachment to material goods is what is holding you back. So that's an egoic aspect. That is the specific shadow aspect of attachment. Okay, so when you are over-attached to the material world, then that stops you from rising into higher transcendental states, which is a totally valid thing. But the pattern that we are describing at that moment is the pattern of over-attachment, okay? So it's very important to realize this. Now we are talking about the shadow aspects of the vehicle, of the egoic vehicle, because this is exactly what we want to dissolve or activate or release, and turn that into flow, for instance, into detachment, right? And the goal, again, is shadow mastery, is mastering of the shadow vehicles and mastering of those shadow aspects, so that we really learn how to navigate and how to optimize this vehicle. So I want to ask you, if you are watching this this video right now, if you're watching this live transmission, what aspects of your ego don't serve you? Do you notice any aspects of your personality that are not optimized and that you would like to get rid of, basically? That's question number one. Is there anything in your field right there, right now, in your egoic vehicle that you think, yeah, you can point it out and say, that's what I want to transmute, this is what I want to dissolve? That's question number one. Question number two, for yourself, have you ever experienced in your meditative states, lots of you are active meditators, right? Have you ever experienced states where you go like, wow, for a period of time, a moment, suddenly you no longer feel your ego. You feel like you are dissolved into a transcendental state, and coming back into incarnation feels challenging. So that's question number two. Question number three, did you ever witness somebody out there, a guru, a teacher, somebody in your field who you felt was egoless, that you witnessed it and it became an example of something that you can actually embody. Another question that I have for you is, do you believe that it's possible to be egoless on this planet and be functioning on this planet? Is this something, an aspiration or something that is humanly possible to actually dissolve the personal vehicle and enter into permanent transcendental states? So maybe you go like, yes, that's possible. For this to happen, I need to say goodbye to this world and go somewhere in a very isolated place and then eventually enter into this transcendental state. And is this something that you feel attracted to? Is this something that you would like to engage into? Complete ego dissolution. Okay? So yeah, it's an ongoing discussion. If you watch this video after this live transmission, feel free to post in the comments what are your insights about this egoic conversation. And I want you to know, of course, that you can always reach out for coaching with me. What we're talking about right now is a little bit abstract, but when I'm having coaching sessions with you, I'm doing that, you know, we are targeting really the exact things that you would like to shift. So it is a lot about strategizing your life and shifting core patterns in your life that are no longer serving you, finding tactics, finding new perspectives, being able to release certain things that don't serve you. I would, of course, love to help you further. If you want to sign up for coaching, it's vitalcoaching.com/coaching, or simply send me a message and we can talk. Sessions can be face-to-face, they can be via Skype. Distance, you know, we can meet on social media right here on Facebook Messenger or on WhatsApp, for instance, for video chat or just audio chat. So feel free to reach out, vitalcoaching.com/coaching, or send me a message. And again, tell me what you feel about this egoic vehicle. Do you have negative association with the word ego, or does the word ego resonate in positive ways for you? I love you, and I'll see you soon.